You're watching Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. In the hot seat, legendary bassist Bob Daisley. We're going to talk about his time with Ozzy Osbourne and the Blizzard of Ozz band. Make sure you check out his book for fact's sakes. Links are in our description down below or click right above here. Now welcome Bob to the show.
See you, man. And
Yeah, you too, although you can't see me.
well, always good to see your memo pad over there, but it's okay. I'll put a nice picture of you over here. And so, Bob, man, I got to tell you, as you know, in the news of rock and roll, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's made its announcement, and the people that are going in, the people are not going in, and of course, you know, Ozzy Osbourne, he is, I guess, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he is quoted to say that he's that he's happy that he's alive to see it happening, and but the fans, you know, the fans are speaking loud, and there was on the internet right here, and I'll let the audience check that out. You know, I'll put it up there as well, and there's post over here. Now I don't know if it's the real Paul Stanley or it's a fan speaking over here, but it says real Paul Stanley. I'm not saying Ozzy isn't deserving. He has been one of the greatest entertainers in rock history, as well as a highly underrated vocalist. But, and there is a but, he didn't play any notes on his solo albums, excluding the harmonica. His voice is an instrument, don't get me wrong, and feel free to correct me if you have facts that prove me wrong. I also believe he didn't write any lyrics, but yet he gets all the credit. He has been very, very blessed to happen to have some of the greatest songwriters and musicians in his camp from day one of his career. I believe a handful of the musicians that have been in his solo band should be inducted as well. It's only fair. And that's not the only, there's a lot of people feel this way. And that's just one comment over there. And
yeah,
I'm not trying to,
there was one that followed, that's somebody, Dana, somebody or other.
There's another one right here.
One?
Yes. Yeah. Dana writes, and he's writing to the real Paul Stanley.
To Paul Stanley, yeah.
To the Paul Stanley person. But it's it's not, I don't think it's somebody saying it, Paul Stanley. So if you're watching out there, when this is out there, when we put this out there, Paul Stanley.
Well, I sent it to Eric Singer. Yeah, and he didn't say it wasn't. So he, you know, it just
So we don't know.
He just agreed with it.
And then Dana. It's funny that the names they're using, because Dana Strum.
Yeah,
that's what comes to mind that I'm thinking of. I agree with most of what you wrote. This Dana person saying this, minus that Ozzy is an underrated vocalist. I would say his vocals are an acquired taste, like caviar. Whenever I would listen to Ozzy in my youth, my mother would always say he had a terrible singing voice. She liked his personality. He was a nice looking man, but his voice, no. I never minded his voice, but understand that it might be somewhat polarizing. Regarding your last comment, I completely agree. And that person should be Bob Daisley. So
that was really nice. No, thank you, Dana, whoever you are, whichever Dana it is. So thank you.
Yeah. That was very nice. And you know, you get into the records, and just to go down the rabbit hole a little bit for maybe people are just tuning in, or maybe they're just getting into Ozzy. There's a lot of people that we spoke to, and we answered their questions, and it's almost more than a cult following. There's people that really get real sensitive about this. They get hurt about it, and more hurt than the people that were there. You know.
Yes. Yeah,
and I know. They take it to heart, you know. It's like sports teams, you know, your favorite sports teams.
Well, that's right. If you're a supporter of something, you take it personally because you're personally and emotionally involved in, and you know, it's very important to something.
It's very important, and you know, and music, it's a part of our life. It's memories. It's moments in our life, and we always relate our life moments to a song of ours, which. We've all been there. You've been there. I'm sure there's a song in your life.
An emotional, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a song in your life that it's a moment. Oh, that's a Beatles song. That's a very special moment in my life, or whatever. But there's albums
Yeah.
that very rare that they come, even though there's a lot out there. But there's certain albums that have definitely changed the time and place for music. And you would say Pet Sounds of Sergeant Pepper, moving forward, and even Nirvana. Never mind, but definitely Ozzy's solo record, Blizzard of Ozz, the debut album.
And actually, I have to correct you there because it wasn't actually a solo record. It was a band called the Blizzard of Ozz.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you. And
that was later,
because
it was later that it became just Ozzy Osbourne, but
and,
yeah, it was a
and,
band
and,
called the Blizzard of
and
Ozz.
and I'm glad that you corrected me, because anybody that goes down they read it, they're looking at it like, oh, it's Ozzy Osbourne, the solo album, but it was a band. It was a time, and that's what I wanted maybe to start the show off, kick it off right now, because the Blizzard of Ozz band, and I'm not. This is just me speaking. I'm not speaking for you, so this is my opinion.
Right,
Okay,
right.
just to
This is
be
your
just
take.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
my
Sure.
take, and you could just plead the fifth, whatever you want to say, or just zip it,
Sure.
whatever, and correct me. What
All right.
correct
Okay.
me. Yeah, that's
Sure.
fair. Correct me. Um, but that time in Ozzy's life, Black Sabbath, he was fired from Black Sabbath, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and there was no he wasn't with Sharon, his wife, his manager. She wasn't in the
No,
picture at this point, right? And so
no.
nobody really wanted to work with Ozzy at this point. He was at a down point in his career,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
correct.
uh, so
I was actually advised against taking on that project or joining or working because of that reputation. But there was something in me, in my heart, in my gut feeling. I thought I have to do this, and I knew I had to do it. And but I liked Ozzy. Ozzy and I, when we first met and we first jammed together, got on great.
re-
Really,
so
really. There was just no effort. It was just effortless.
so you were advised not to work with Ozzy. So how did
Yeah.
you and Ozzy, just for this episode, how did you connect with him for this project? Did he just call you, or what happened?
No, no, no. I went to a show in North London, in Camden, a club called the Music Machine, because I was between bands. I'd just come out of Rainbow, and I went to the Music Machine because I knew that there was a band on there called Girl, and that was a Jet Records band, and I'd been with Jet Records with Widowmaker. So I thought if I go to that show, I'll at least know people there. So I went to the show at the Music Machine. I saw the band Girl, and I went backstage, and I saw some of the Jet Records reps were there, and there was a guy called Arthur Sharp, and I got chatting with Arthur because I knew him from he was worked for Jet Records, and he said, "Oh, Ozzy's here tonight. Do you know Ozzy?" And I thought, well, I think I've met him. I said, I wouldn't say I know him. He said, "Oh, I'll introduce you." And Ozzy and I got chatting, and Ozzy said to me, he said, "I'm putting a band together. Would you be interested?" He knew that I'd just come out of Rainbow. And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'd be interested." And then I got the phone call from David Arden, who was Don Arden's son, and he was looking after Ozzy and the day-to-day stuff in England because I think Sharon was in America still, and Ozzy was back in the UK. He'd already auditioned guitar players in LA, but he
Hmm.
came back to England. And then when he asked me to if I'd be interested, David Arden got me a ticket on the train. I caught a train from London to Stafford. Ozzy was at the railway station to meet me. I went back to his house and we had a bit of a play together with a guitarist and a drummer that he had there. Now, I don't know who those guys were. I can't remember their names. They were pretty decent players and they were nice enough guys. But it wasn't like, wow, this is world class. So,
Yeah.
but Ozzy and I got on great together because I remember we went out in the kitchen together and he phoned Arthur Sharp at Jet Records and he said, "Yeah, Bob's here. We get on like a house on fire. the fire brigades just left. That was his words. I remember him joking about it. But then I said to him, I said, well, you know, I'd like to work with you, Ozzy. It's actually, you know, it feels good, and we got on great together. Same sense of humor, same, you know, musical tastes, all that sort of stuff. I said, but I don't really think that these other two guys are world class. No, I said, I have to be honest. He said, hang on a minute. And he went in, he had a sort of a rehearsal room, an integral room built on his house just for rehearsing. And he went in there, he said, you can pack up, fellas, you can go home, it's not working out. That's what he said. They were dismissed, gone. Then
That
he and
was
I got chatting about what we were going to do. And he said, oh, I met this guitarist in LA. He's a guitar teacher. And when he said that, I envisaged some sort of older bloke with a pipe and slippers and cardigan on, the guitar teacher. He said his name's Randy Rhodes. And then he told me about Randy. And I said, well, let's get him over here. So we went to David Arden. David Arden didn't want to do it at first. He said, no, he's unknown. He's a young kid, you know. But then eventually he gave in. He said, against my better judgment, that's what his words were, I remember. He said, against my better judgment, I flew Randy Rhodes over. And that's when it all started. It was just me and Ozzy and Randy. And we started the band, started writing stuff, putting stuff together, and auditioning drummers at the same time. And that's how the ball got rolling.
That's it. That's how it got rolling.
Yep.
Now, going back, when you said you saw the band Girl, was that Phil Lewis of LA Guns and Phil Collins of Def Leppard's band?
Yes. Yep.
Ah, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that band. Yeah.
Make sure to check out Bob's book, For Fact's Sake. Links are in our description down below or click right above here. You can watch this full episode right here in our Members Only Club. In the meantime, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, post your comments down below, and check it out. There's something cool right here on your screen. Click on it for our next episode. You might really enjoy it. Who loves you, baby? We do. Thanks for watching.